On this week's Most Craved, what do you mean there's no end credits Avengers scene?
Flynn lives again.
Diane, cancel my subscription to Showtime.
Welcome to this week's Most Craved. I'm Jenna Busch with Legion of Leia.
I'm Silas Lesnick with ComingSoon.net.
And I'm William Bibbiani with CraveOnline. Hey, dudes.
One of the really exciting pieces of news this week for me, because I'm a huge Tron Legacy fan.
As you should be.
Is that another Tron is on the way for sure, and Olivia Wilde has just signed on. Garrett Hedlund is coming back, so it sounds like we're going to have a Tron movie shooting very soon.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I feel like Tron Legacy kind of has the same fan base that the original Tron does, which is a handful of really diehard fans who think it's really cool, even despite whatever flaws it might have. Like, I think everyone here, right? Everyone here?
It definitely has flaws, but
Yeah.
I still love it.
And then a whole bunch of people who don't give a crap. Like a whole bunch, like even the majority seem to not really care that much. You run into people and you mention the word Tron to them, and it's like that one episode of The Simpsons. Anyone ever see Tron? No. Yes? Oh, wait, no. Yeah, like, there's that reaction, and then you meet that one person who's like, yeah, Tron! And I'm a yeah, Tron. Like, I really do. The original, I mean, it's kind of stodgy, but it's really fun.
It's not stodgy. I just rewatched it, actually.
I just rewatched Tron Legacy and remembered how much I fucking love that. And my thing with Tron Legacy is I'm glad Joseph Kosinski's coming back. He's well suited to the material. Garrett Hedlund is fine. Olivia Wilde is always good and everything. Where the fuck is Daft Punk?
Well, I mean, maybe
I'm assuming
Daft
they'll
Punk.
come. Yeah,
honestly,
no, Daft Punk has
I
to come back.
almost hope that they find somebody other than Daft Punk that is able to do a very different like musical approach, just because it would be nice to almost have Tron Legacy be its own thing and then have a third one be something else entirely.
Well, I mean, it kind of has to be, doesn't it? Because look at where it ended in the, you know, I mean, we're going to see probably more of the real world, considering, spoiler alert.
Well, I also think we have an opportunity in Tron 3, whatever they end up calling it, because a lot of people were just like, well, you know, the grid looks pretty much the same as it used to. Well, I'm like, yeah, that grid has been in isolation since like the early 80s.
Yeah.
You know, that grid hasn't really been affected by technology changing the way it has. I didn't even know what Wi-Fi was. So I want to see what the grid looks like now, and I want to finally get a payoff on Cillian Murphy showing up in only one frickin' scene. He shows up as the son of the bad guy from the original Tron, just goes, and that's my cameo, and he's out, and I'm like, yeah, bring him back.
They could also do a Wreck-It Ralph crossover.
They totally could do a Wreck-It Ralph crossover. I would be fine with that.
Honestly, in all seriousness, I could see an interesting approach to Tron to try to take other video game properties, like actual video game properties, and pull them in.
No.
No, they could totally do that. I mean, hey, they're doing Ready Player One, so
Well, okay, then
people
that's
are
cool.
licensing
But
things.
no, my thing is this: I don't feel like bringing in like a big corporate advertisement for something, anything, even if it's justified by story, working in Tron. I feel like Tron is about big ideas, not about you know, little haha. Isn't it fun that there's a crossover bits? I don't think that's that interesting.
Well, it's just you look at what Joseph Kosinski was about to do. I think it was Gran Turismo at Sony, which seemed to have a very Tron-centric plot. It was about a guy actually going into the video game to.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what he does.
Well, I mean, it would depend how they do it, too. I mean, if they're going to do something where it's all like, hey, product placement, then that's not going to work. But
Yeah.
if there are nods to current video games or past video
I would
games.
be fine if they incorporated the way video games work now. For example,
that
like
would work.
we don't necessarily need, you know, them to go to Call of Duty, but to have a first-person shooter in the Tron world, that makes a certain amount of sense. What doesn't make any sense is making Twin Peaks without David Lynch. Segue!
So good.
So Twin Peaks was going to come back to Showtime to finally wrap up the series, which ended on one hell of a cliffhanger decades ago. David Lynch was coming back. All the surviving members of the cast, as far as I know, were coming back. And then there was a big dispute over money, and not like David Lynch's salary either, just how much money they felt they needed to do the show. And David Lynch was like, I'm out. You have all the scripts. Technically, they can make it without him, but Showtime is insisting that they want to make it with him, but not insisting so hard that they're just giving him the money. Now, I'm wondering, how the hell much can Twin Peaks actually cost?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I kind of just am disgusted by the whole thing. As much as I love David Lynch, tell us how much you need. Crowdfunding exists right now.
Right.
There are fans out there. it seems more like he's realizing he doesn't actually want to make the show, and who knows what the actual reasons are. But if it's a matter of money, ask the fans.
Give him the money. Well, part of it is that, so he said in a I think it might have been a blog post, but he said that there wasn't enough money to do it right. Then Showtime said we thought we were still in negotiations. The entire cast is coming out now to say, hey, we support David Lynch.
Yeah.
So give him the money.
Well, and here's the thing. I suggested this as well. Why don't we crowdsource Twin Peaks? And it occurs to me that from a PR perspective, a major network like Showtime, begging people for money in order to make a show that they were very proud that they were able to make, probably is a terrible PR move for them.
Yeah,
like, we want to do this thing, but we're Showtime. We don't have money.
Well, that's sort of my whole point of why, like, these are negotiations that shouldn't be happening in public in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like shame on everyone involved for bringing it to this level. But if it's actually a problem, if Showtime is actually saying, we don't have this money, and David Lynch saying, well, I need this money, ask the fans. Because I would rather pay my own money to get this than miss that opportunity.
David Lynch doesn't strike me as that much of a capitalist that he would bring this out into public just to get the money. It seems to me, probably, I could be wrong, that what he was just saying is, I'm leaving the project, fans, here's why, I'm out. Like, that's it. It wasn't necessarily trying to, like, bilk Showtime. It just wasn't like, creative differences. I'm creative and they're different. Like, it wasn't like that. So, I don't know. I just hope it gets made. I hope it gets made with David Lynch, because not doing it with David Lynch. The last time David Lynch left Twin Peaks, literally the next episode, it started to suck.
It totally
literally the next episode. It's amazing.
He did come back, and it did also kind of suck.
But
not as much.
Not as much. He didn't come back for very long, until it was just before it was canceled. And then he did the fucking movie, which is amazing.
Oh, I was talking about that. I'm not a big Firewalk with Me fan.
Oh, Firewalk with Me is the... Oh, my...
Boys.
Oh, okay. He just hurt my soul. Someone tell me another news story.
All right. Well, so fans are kind of curious about why we're not seeing more of the Vision in a trailer, though to me that seems like, well, of course you're not. You got a little hint. People are excited about it. I don't.
Here's the thing with the Vision. There's a really good chance that the Vision is like only going to show up at the end of the movie. That's the thing. It's like, remember when everyone was like really excited that the Dinobots were going to be in Age of Extinction, and they showed up in the last 10% of the film, and everyone felt totally screwed? That's potentially what they could do with the Vision if they overhyped him now. If he comes in as like a cavalry charge or whatever, then it would be really disappointing.
Yeah, and they're probably going to change the story quite a bit from the comics, because
I'm just thinking, like, at this point it has made that much more excited that as many TV spots as we're getting, as many trailers as we're getting, I feel like there's a lot to this movie that I know absolutely nothing about, and that's really exciting as a fan.
Fun.
Yeah, I actually really, because there are a lot of trailers, of course, that give away so much about the movie, or they put the best stuff in. But this hasn't. Like, I feel like I have a taste of what it is, but I don't feel like I know everything that's going to happen. The other thing is, it was announced that we're not getting an end of after credits sequence.
Well, we are getting a mid-credit sequence, to be clear, and the mid-credit sequence lately is where most of the plot teasing happens, I find.
Yeah.
The majority of the Phase 2 movies have ended with a joke.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that I'm totally cool with that, but I think like Joss Whedon said, no, seriously, this isn't like, we're not faking you out to make you go see the movie again.
We don't want you to watch the credits and respect the people who made the film. Stay for the credits anyway, is my point.
A, really long credits.
A, just in case. B, those people work their asses off for you. Watch the credits. You'll get some really fun ideas for baby names.
And to be absolutely fair, there was not a post-credits on the Avengers even up until the junket happened.
Right.
The premiere happened, and then they shot.
At the junket for the first Avengers, they said, yeah, we're shooting one more scene tonight. And it was the shawarma scene.
Did say that.
They shot at this restaurant on Pico. What's it called again?
Oh, yeah, it's called Burger Elot.
Burger Elot. Yeah,
Burger.
really great, really good. Silas took me there once. It was adorable. And that's most craved. Everybody, follow us on Twitter, more or less here somewhere. They just do that without really pointing it out to me. And we'll be back next week with more of What You Crave.